Partially hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, sodium propionate. How many of you are familiar with these names? Okay, not many of you. Heart attack, stroke, diabetes. How many of you are familiar with these health problems? Okay, more of you. The first list that I gave you are ingredients that are added into foods that you're eating. And there weren't a lot of you that were familiar with those. So, what exactly are we putting into our bodies? What if I told you that by making one simple change in your diet, you can reduce your risk of developing health problems? Cutting back on processed foods can dramatically decrease your risk of developing heart problems and diabetes, and it can actually be more cost-effective for your family. So let me start by talking about what processed foods actually are. Processed foods take a food that is in its natural state and add ingredients. They add preservatives. They add artificial colors. Sometimes texturizers to make a food more appealing. Sometimes food in its natural state can be liquefied to make it more appealing. Any food that has to undergo a process to end up on your grocery shelves or on a plate in front of you is a processed food. The more steps a food goes through before being packaged, the more processed it is. This means that if you take a food that is relatively healthy and has really good nutrients, but you send it through the processing, it actually loses the majority of those good nutrients, and it's replaced with preservatives. Now, if something has a shelf life of 3 years, why am I going to put that in my body? What is it going to do? Is it going to stay in my body for 3 years? I don't know. That's not really a risk I'm willing to take. Can you make Cinnamon Toast Crunch or a lean cuisine meal in your kitchen? Well, unless your kitchen is a state-of-the-art chemical lab, probably not. One of the main harmful ingredients in processed foods is high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is used in soft drinks as a sweetener. It's used in breads that you get in the grocery store to give them that nice, freshly baked appearance, the brown colors, the softness. That's all high fructose corn syrup. One of the things that surprised me when I really started looking into processed foods was spaghetti sauce in a jar. Some of them contain 45 to 60 grams of sugar. Now, if I take all natural ingredients, tomatoes, onions, garlic, and make my own, it has dramatically less sugar. So why does the one on the shelf have more? Why am I consuming that much sugar? And what else may have excess sugars that I'm not aware of? High fructose corn syrup is bad for you because it stops your brain from realizing that it's full. When your brain doesn't realize that you're full, you tend to overeat. This is because the chemicals that are found in natural foods that send that signal are processed out of the majority of other foods. High fructose corn syrup also diminishes your body's source of chromium, which helps to regulate your cholesterol and maintain a healthy insulin level in the body. A lot of the artificial ingredients in processed food can also increase your risk of health problems through high cholesterol, diabetes, and stroke or heart disease. Many processed foods contain large amounts of the sugars found in high fructose corn syrup, which can also lead to increased fat accumulation, particularly around the liver and the abdomen. This overweight problem can lead to stress on your joints and makes it harder for your lungs to breathe. It makes it harder for your heart to pump blood through your body, which can lead to clogged arteries and increase your risk of stroke or a heart attack. You wouldn't drink water with 6 to 8 tablespoons of sugar added to it. So why are you drinking a soda that can have even more than that? The majority of people that drink sodas drink more than one a day. So think about it as 16 tablespoons of sugar. Would you eat that voluntarily? Probably not. Refined carbohydrates are found in boxed crackers, cookies, bags of chips, and even cereals. And these can lead to increased triglyceride levels, which contributes to insulin deficiency and can exacerbate diabetes. This means that the excess sugars and refined carbohydrates actually spike your insulin levels in your body. Your body only produces so much insulin. So once your body can no longer produce the insulin it needs to counteract how much sugar you're putting into your body, it's going to need an insulin supplement, hence diabetes. Refined grains are grains that have gone through the processing process and are usually bleached beyond their recognition of their natural color. Refined grains can increase your risk of heart attack 25% more than someone who is only eating whole grains that have not been processed, have not been bleached, do not have additives in them. Now, 25% is a 1 in 4 chance. So by switching to whole grains over white grains, you are actually decreasing your risk of a heart attack. That's a pretty big risk to decrease just by switching breads. Most of the hesitation involved with switching from processed foods to a more natural, healthy diet comes from the belief that it is very expensive to eat more naturally, more organically. It has been found that on average, it would cost only about $1.50 extra per week per person to eat a healthier diet free from processed foods. That's less than the cost of a Happy Meal at McDonald's. Now, I know it's so much easier on your drive home from work when you're feeling tired to just swing through that drive-thru. But think about what you're putting in your body. Think about all the cost you're saving by eating healthier, and I think it'll change your mind. Some of these costs include the fact that medicine for diabetes can cost the average person around $14,000 per year. Now, $14,000 a year for one person with diabetes. What happens if your insurance doesn't cover your diabetic medicine? And there are other side effects of diabetes. You have decreased blood flow. So you have circulation issues, which can cause wounds on your feet. People with diabetes often have heart problems as well, secondary to increased weight. All of these expenses add up. But we're more than happy to shell out for our medicines when if we could just shell out $1.50 extra a week, we could actually decrease the need for these medicines in the first place. Your health is important. Your life is important. Why is it that we can spend thousands of dollars a year eating out, but we hesitate to spend $1.50 more in the grocery store for foods that aren't boxed, packaged, or bagged? Why is it that we don't hesitate to spend money on medicine to handle our health, but we hate spending money to prevent the problems that led us to the medicine in the first place? We all need to take control of our lifestyles. And the first step in taking control of your health is cutting back on the amount of processed foods that you eat. There are movements and laws that prevent people from laying in suntan beds because suntan beds have been linked to skin cancer. There are ingredients in processed foods that have been linked to cancer. But there they sit on the grocery shelves. There they sit in our pantries. What's the difference? If we stop buying the processed foods, people will stop producing them. America has a huge rise in obesity in the past few years because it seems cheaper and easier to run through the drive-thru, to grab that ready-made frozen lasagna. I agree. It may seem easier at this time. But what about in 5 years when you're carrying extra weight? It's harder for you to do the things that you used to do. You're having to pay a little bit more for your cholesterol medicine. You're having to go to the doctor more often because they've increased your risk for a heart attack. By increasing the demand for good, healthy, natural foods, we're showing them that we aren't going to buy the processed foods. We're showing them that we are taking control of our health, and we are increasing the demand for foods that taste good, but are also good for our bodies, which will improve the health of future generations after ours. Thank you.